All right, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host Tone Vays. I'm still going to be having mic issues as long as I'm traveling because I didn't bring my USB mic, and I can't seem to figure out how to make the my mic that I've always used on the road work with my new laptop. So unfortunately, there will be audio issues throughout the whole thing. And I'm not even sure if I'm using this mic or it's just using the regular computer mic. So I can switch to my camera mic. May or may not be better, but it's also, unless I do actual sound tests. And also when people message me, whenever I get off the stream, a bunch of people message me advice, but then 3 hours later, I don't know where they messaged me that advice. So usually it just doesn't. Somebody messaged me all of these good software I can download for free to test microphones, but I have no idea who did it, and I have no idea who sent it to me. I have no idea what it was. So if I don't get back to you, if I don't actually, even if I get back to you saying thanks, but I don't immediately do it or watch the video, by the next day, I'll have no idea who sent it to me. So it's what happens when you have no assistance. So it's becomes impossible. Camera mic's bad. Okay. Last mic was better. Okay. So whatever mic this is, it works because if I actually use and if I unplug this, yeah, so this mic doesn't actually, I'm unplugging it, it doesn't even pick it up. I don't even know why. And this was my go-to mic on the road, so I don't know. Maybe if I restart my computer, it'll work. So yeah, welcome to a life of travel and trying to figure out, because there's only so much stuff I want to carry with me in a bag because I don't check bags. So it limits live streaming. It kind of sucks. I mean, the laptop has a microphone input, but it doesn't work. So maybe the microphone's broken. I have no idea. Anyway, let's go to screen share. It's just frustrating all around. I'm also kind of frustrated with how strict Miami is with masks. So, you might as well stay in California in your basement. It's not that much of a difference. I mean, at least you can go to a club. It's mostly the hypocrisy and the annoyance of it. They won't let you into a place without a mask, but the moment you're inside, you can take the mask off. The stupidity of it just boggles the mind. You're so I have to put on a mask to walk 10 feet, and then there's no longer a need for a mask. It's the stupidity of this is just beyond human understanding. No, it's everyone complains about audio. 40 people are going to join late and they're going to bitch about my audio. So I'm saying in the beginning of every video, audio's going to suck. You'll have to deal with it. I am going to Brazil. I think it's Brazil. I'm going to Brazil because I think that's the only place you can actually live normal these days. So I don't think I'll make it there in January. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. But it looks like Brazil. Looks like that's where I'll be spending the rest of the winter. Because it's I don't want to see a mask. I want to live somewhere where, life's normal. All right, we're on screen share. I can't get into Sweden. Sweden is locked down. You can't, everyone's like, Sweden, Sweden, Sweden. You can't go there. All right. Here's the weekly chart. And I wouldn't want to go there. It's freaking winter. Why would I want to be in Sweden? Looking at the weekly chart, I'm not in. I'm sitting out. I'm sitting out. I have not bought back into Bitcoin. I got out 3 weeks ago now, near the top of this candle right here at 18,000. We're at 19,000 now. Yes, I would have more now if I hodled, but I'm not going to go against my own indicator. I have a red arrow on the MRI top. I have a red arrow on extension B. And this week I have a red arrow on extension C. All of these, this one, this A, and this B, and this C, they are all coming from this MRI top that took place in June. So this MRI top slowed down the price of Bitcoin and then created the extension phase. Now this extension phase completed in line with another MRI top. Extension A completed way early. B and C have just completed. So we have just completed all extensions from the MRI top here. Now, this must have been a tricky one, because this extension B, oh boy, this extension B would have been coming from quite a while back. It would have had to have come from this MRI top. And it's very, very surprising that it lasted this long without being canceled. It was supposed to be canceled here on this week, but the big rally prevented it from being canceled. It was also supposed to be canceled here, but the pullbacks, oh, I'm sorry, not here. It wouldn't have been canceled there. It was basically deferred because it had to close higher than the 8th candle of the extension, which must have been somewhere over here. Maybe not that high, but must have been somewhere over here or here. And we just kept waiting for it to close higher. Must have been this candle or something. Yeah, so it's a very rare situation that it lasts that long. But in any case, this to me is still a concerning cluster. And these videos are not going to be useful. I almost don't really have a need to do this video today, because nothing that I've said over the last 3 to 4 days is going to change. On a weekly scale, I am concerned that we are still sitting around a top. The monthly scale is on an MRI top month. And the daily scale is the only one that is leaning in a bullish direction. But if the daily scale goes below this area, it will now lean in a bearish direction. This is a textbook style consolidation on a daily scale. It's even hard to call it a triangle now. This triangle has been broken, but now we're back in the triangle. Can I extend it? Is there anything I can do to make this triangle work? I believe I can. This is still a somewhat legitimate triangle. It is actually a very clean triangle now. I am using the 4-hour chart. We are back inside the triangle, and this triangle is going to resolve. Eventually, you will lose the ability to adjust the triangle, and it will have to break one way or another. I'm not leaning one way or another. It's all pretty much the same. we would have to consolidate for a long time to have a sustained breakout above 20,000. We would have to consolidate into next year. If we consolidated between 18,000 and 20,000 into February, that would be enough consolidation for a sustained breakout above 20,000. So I would need, I mean, we can go as low as even 17. So if we consolidate, now we're on a daily scale. At the least, you have to consolidate long enough for the 50-day moving average to meet the price. That's December. Ideally, you're going to consolidate until the 128-day moving average meets the price. And that's late January, early February. So if you are not going to get a pullback, but a consolidation, you want to be in this consolidation phase for a good 3 months. This is your consolidation phase. And this would need to last into end of January, which will give it 3 months, half of November, all of December, and most of January. Not 3 months, but two full months at least. You need 2 full months. If this can consolidate for 2 full months, I would then be very optimistic for a sustained breakout from 20,000 to 30,000 in the first half of 2021. All right, I'm checking your live chat, guys. I have nothing else to add on Bitcoin. GBTC premium is dropping. This is great. I didn't fully exit GBTC. I mean, getting out at 24 would have been sweet, but I'm okay. Look, you go through these stages of feeling silly. Like when I didn't fully get out of GBTC and then we crashed to 17, I'm like, ah, crap, I should have fully gotten out. I just lost like 25% on whatever I have left. And then the next day, it's up at 23, and you're like, crap, I should have got in. And now you're like, crap, I should have got out again. But I'm happy. I'm fine. I have a small position in GBTC. The premium is dropping, and the price is dropping. And I don't think I'll be able to buy it below 17 again. If it would have fell one more day, if it would have fell into Monday, the premium probably would have cratered some more, and it was already low at 15. But I don't think the premium is going to go back down to this level here where it was at like 5-6%, which was an incredible buying opportunity. And now I'm happy back at 20 bucks because I sold everything above that. So I'll pick that up. It will be closer to the next breakout anyway. Gold is rallying. Once again, I continue to apologize for not noticing gold on a perfect MRI buy opportunity with the cash market on November 30th. November 30th was the day to buy gold. Can't deny that by looking at the gold cash price. I was paying attention to the futures price, which was a couple of candles shy of reaching the MRI buy opportunity. And gold's rallying, and I'm not surprised. I was only looking for a drop to 1750. Gold's rallying again, and I'm pretty bullish gold now. I'm pretty bullish gold. I think we got a shot at new all-time highs next year. I don't really care for the ratio. I'm going to close it. And S&P has been rallying. It's doing fine. A little bit of a pullback today, but not much. I got nothing more to say unless you guys want to talk the stupidity of the election fraud and COVID. COVID is really bothering me. It's really bothering me because it's scary how complicit people are in listening to outright, statistical bullshit of how deadly this virus is. Yes, some people die, but for every person that dies of COVID, there is for every sad story you want to throw at me that someone died of COVID, I'll throw a sad story of people committing suicide right back at you. So don't choose one life over another is my answer to that. How are things in Miami? Well, apparently, if you walk around South Beach without a mask, the cops can give you a ticket. But if you fight the ticket with the state will drop the ticket. So the sheer stupidity of a Democratic mayor trying to piss off the Republican governor is a pissing contest that hurts your residents. Every business demands you to have a mask. So if you want to walk into a pharmacy, they won't let you in without a mask. Every restaurant has you put on a mask. To walk into a restaurant, once you're inside, you can take it off. You can party at the club all you want, but you can't walk into the club without a mask. It's not even that. It's people. It's people thinking that these masks are making a big difference. They're not. They're not making any difference. They're making the smallest of differences. But but people are showing how easily they are manipulated into wearing masks and doing other stupid shit. I have my ideas of where in Brazil I would go, but I'm not exactly gonna uh, put a GPS tracker on me. Me telling everyone in the world where in Brazil I am ain't exactly the safest thing in the world. 80% of the people that get COVID never have any symptoms. So you won't even know. Well, you can't hear what some doctors say, because if the doctor says the wrong thing, because of their expertise, they lose their medical license. I tweeted out the story earlier this morning. It's like, well, how come you don't listen to doctors? Well, because the doctors that I would listen to are no longer doctors, because other doctors felt that their professional opinion wasn't worth listening to. So yeah, so if a doctor goes against the standard, that doctor loses their license. I don't think COVID is going away in April. You see, when COVID is used in such a political way to steal an election, why would you want to get rid of COVID if you can now do more shit because you have power over people due to COVID? 2,000 people are not dying a day from COVID. That's bullshit. That's just outright bullshit. Just go to my Twitter. I show you how it's bullshit. I was tweeting about it all day today. It's also incredible how it's always the same people. It's the same people. Like the Super socialists, borderline communists are also forcing everyone to wear masks. It's the same people that think they're going to die from climate change. It's the same, it's all the same people. It's the same people. It's the same people that constantly watch the news. It's the same people that think eating meat is bad. It's all the same people. That is true. If you jump out of a plane and you die and you had COVID, that is a COVID death. That is not like that's what it is. That's exactly correct. So here, if I go to Twitter, and they're not denying that. They're not denying that. Let me go to my Twitter. I'm done with price, guys. I mean, they're like, I don't care. I don't give a shit about Bitcoin price right now. There's bigger things you should worry about. One of them is the abuse of tyrannical governments. Just more important. Between COVID and no one interested in figuring out how many votes there were for which candidate. Here's the UK. Deaths for any reason within 28 days of a positive test. So if you had a positive COVID test a month ago and today you died in a car crash, you are a COVID death. If you did not have a COVID test, but you died in a car crash, they will test you for COVID before filling out the coroner's report. And if you had COVID, you are listed as a COVID death. So whether you take the test and they know you're positive or you don't, it doesn't matter. And they can make the test positive if they want. All they have to do is run it through 40 cycles and then everyone is positive. Like these statistics are outright bullshit. And they don't deny that. I mean, they flat out say it. I mean, this is the end result. This is the end result of lockdowns, where the elderly, the lockdowns are supposed to be protecting, are committing suicide because of lockdowns. This is how bad it is. So here, they're not denying it. It's a 2-minute video and I'll speed it up. Hold on. Let me speed this up to 175.
Reported the death of a teenager in Cook County. Are you familiar with this case? If so, is this the state's first teenage death? And can you tell us if the teenager in question had underlying conditions?
Okay, we're going to get a definition now of how you can determine whether or not someone died with COVID. Very simple.
I don't have that information at my disposal at this time. I know we have had people of all age groups die. I just want to be clear in terms of the definition of people dying.
Okay, here comes the definition of death by COVID.
Of COVID. So the case definition is very simplistic. It means at the time of death, it was a COVID positive diagnosis.
That means no matter how you die, as long as you were positive for COVID when you died, you are a COVID death. Even if you got in a car wreck or you fell off a cliff, for whatever reason that you died, as long as you had COVID, it's counted as a COVID death. Listen.
So that means that if you were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death.
There it was. Okay. She's going to make it more simple for us.
It means that if technically, even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death.
So technically, even if you died of an alternate cause, if you had COVID when you died, it's called a COVID death. You wonder why the numbers are messed up.
This is not a new video, guys. This video has been around for a while. And this is why the COVID death numbers are so freaking high. And the reason why your positive rates are so high is because, one, everyone is getting tested, and two, when you're getting tested, they using that PCR tests, and using a PCR test can make any test positive if they replicate it enough. So they take a cell and they start replicating it until they get a reading for COVID. And if they replicate it enough times, pretty much almost anyone could be positive for COVID, because all of us have come in contact with it in one way, shape, or another, even though most of us were never affected by it. And I have like videos educating on that as well, but I don't know where they are. It's really frustrating what's happening, and it's really frustrating what's happening. It's hard to explain. All right, do I have any moderators? Any good questions, guys? What do we got for questions? This is basically what my life's like right now. You know, you spent the last 20 years of your life living as healthy as possible so that if a virus like the coronavirus happens to be spreading around the world, you will survive, but this is what you're now dealing with. COVID is skyrocketing in Brazil. Well, look, anytime a country tries to create some element of freedom, every country around that country, which in this case, almost every country other than Brazil, is incentivized to destroy that country. This is why it's so difficult to have any form of freedom. Because if you have freedom, everyone that doesn't have freedom is incentivized to make your life miserable. For example, I don't want to wear a mask. So every person that looks like this is now incentivized to make my life miserable with a mask because their life is miserable and they are wearing a mask. So everyone in the world, other than Brazil, is incentivized to show the world how bad Brazil is. Are the numbers really spiking in Brazil? I don't know. Are deaths spiking? Cases spiking? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, because I no longer trust any media, because at this point, the objective of the media is to create bias to make Brazil look bad so that they don't feel as bad about their life. Misery loves company. That is exactly correct. Tone, if a close family member died of COVID, would you feel the same way? Absolutely, 100%. You know, just because some people didn't spend enough quality time with their family the last 30, 40 years, it doesn't mean you should destroy life for every person that hasn't been born yet. Enjoy the time you've spent, enjoy the time you could be spending, because what I regret is not spending enough time with my grandma when she was still alive, because I was, you know, a cocky 20-year-old that wanted to go out and have fun. That's what I regret. And if she was alive today, she would rather see me with neither one of us wearing a mask than sit there in some nursing home without me allowing to walk in. My family doesn't wear masks. I've been having dinner with my family and other relatives, and my parents are in their 70s. We don't social distance. We don't wear masks. We were all careful in March and April when it was actually serious, but that was it. That was it. As of June, that's it. That's it. There was a time to be careful and wear a mask. Now that there's more information out there, and now that it's propagated through the world, that's it. It's time to stop, or it will never end. It will never end. How do you know when it ends? When CNN tells you to stop wearing a mask? When are you going to know when it's over? Someone says not wearing a mask is selfish. Not wearing a spacesuit is selfish. Go all the way. Go all the way. Why masks? Wear a spacesuit. If you're not walking around the street in a spacesuit, if you're not walking around the street in a proper, CDC disease, like fully, what do you call it, ventilated suit, you're selfish. You're killing people. Like the examples were about like a surgeon wears a mask. Yeah, a surgeon washes his hands before touching a brand new mask that's never been worn before. He wears it the duration of the surgery. He would then take off his gloves so his hands are clean. He would probably wash his hands. He would then take the mask off, throw it in the garbage, and never touch it again. Every single person that wears a mask for more than once and touches that mask to adjust it or takes it off to do something, your hands are closer to your mouth and nose. Wearing those masks are probably giving you, and they're probably increasing your chances of getting the virus by tenfold from the way your hands are interacting with your mask. And then, sure, you're going to catch it. And then you may not give it to the person next to you unless you shake their hand. But guess what happens when you come home with your family and take that mask off? 90% of the doctors that know better won't say shit because they will lose their license if they go against what the mask agenda is. You're supposed to wash your hands every time you touch your mask. I bet you nobody does that. Nobody. I know I don't. Nobody does that. Someone asked about Bitcoin dominance. I mean, still 35% stupid and 65% normal, waiting for it to rise. There's not much to say about Bitcoin, guys. We're consolidating. We're consolidating. I have no preference one way or another right now. My monthly chart is telling me to stay away. My weekly chart is telling me to stay away. My daily chart is saying get in above 19.7. And the news cycle and the fundamental cycle of financial institutions buying into Bitcoin is pretty bullish for Bitcoin. What are your bearish targets? My most bearish target right now is 14,000. I think it's possible still, but it's starting to become less likely. I'm using my platform for political rants because it's important. In my entire life, I don't ever recall a political issue. Well, maybe two. Snowden, Assange, and now COVID and the election fraud. So in the last, what, 15, 20 years, those have been like the only big political issues that that are more important to me than crypto. That's it. Those issues. So yeah, when an important issue rises that could alter, the future for my kids, it matters. Like seriously alter. No comment on the Russian stock market, rising 5% in a day. I have no idea. I actually didn't know. No clue. All right, any other questions? Let me see. Do you think the stimulus bill will pass today? I don't know. I'm not really paying attention to that. 908 billion. If it passes, we should see a pump. Maybe. I don't know how they're going to distribute it. Are they going to give everyone another $1,000 check, or is it going to be more loans? I don't know. How long do you think we need to? Okay, so I answered that question. How can Bitcoin be used as a currency for exchange if you have to pay taxes on capital gains on crypto? I agree, it sucks. Well, you don't have to pay capital gains everywhere. I believe in Portugal, one of the countries I always wanted to go to, never did. I hope I will get to go there one day. I don't know now. I don't know if I'll ever get to travel again, because if the vaccines are mandated in order to fly, that's a problem. That's a problem. Now you can say, Tone, just get a fake vaccine stamp. But if a fake vaccine stamp has a penalty of 10 years in prison, may not be worth the risk, may not be worth it. So if they mandate vaccines for travel, there it goes. So at least I'll get to Brazil before that happens. I'm trying to get all my travel done before the vaccine is around, because once the vaccine's around, they can mandate it. They can't mandate it now because there's no vaccine yet. So, what was the question? Right. So, well, I mean, you can do it. You can, let's say, use a third-party bank like Coinbase, which is terrible, maybe Cash App, and you spend your Bitcoin as you go, and then Cash App will send you a report when you bought that part of Bitcoin. I mean, you also have to figure out, is it first in, first out, or last in, first out? So you need an accounting structure, and then the app that you're using will tell you at what price you acquired the Bitcoin, at what price you're spending that Bitcoin, were there capital gains, were there capital losses, and you get a report. If you're going to be an independent Bitcoin holder and use it and expecting to pay capital gains, you can do the math yourself. It'll probably take you, I don't know, a good month to do your accounting on going through the blockchain on every single transaction you've used. I'm sure there's accounting software that you'll have to dox your addresses into. It's doable. It's not good, but it's doable. Because the question was, how could it be used? Well, it can easily be used, right? All you got to do is submit all of your Bitcoin addresses to the government, and they will calculate your capital gains for you. Now, that's not how Bitcoin was meant to be used, and that's not how people should be using it. People should stand up and force the legislature to change the law. The problem is a lot of people don't want to do anything about the law. Do something about the law. I know, good freedom-loving people don't like running for political positions, And also because when freedom-loving people go into political positions, they get very power hungry, and they become just as bad dictators as anyone else. But the law needs to be changed. There needs to be uh, something that says all transactions under, I don't know, $400-500 are not subject to capital gains because you're using it for currency purposes. So there has to be a distinction. Are you using Bitcoin as an investment, or are you using Bitcoin as a means of buying shit? And if you're using Bitcoin as a means of buying shit, capital gains should not apply to you. But someone needs to put that law in the books. English is not my first language. Thank you for noticing. Guys, I'm really tired of being a middleman for people to connect with Jimmy and Willie. If you're not able to connect with Willie or Jimmy on your own, I mean, some people just don't want to be bothered, So, but messaging me with a reason why I should be connecting you to Jimmy and Willie puts me in an annoying position sometimes, because now I gotta figure out whether your request to meet Jimmy Song or Willie Woo is appropriate enough. Because if I start messaging Willie and Jimmy every day for you guys to meet Jimmy and Willie, they'll never speak to me again. So I'm not easy to get a hold of either, though I constantly meet strangers for a drink or carnivory dinner. Everyone texted me now that I'm in Miami. Everyone texted me to meet up, and they texted me from every social media known to man. Some hit me up on email, some on Telegram, some on Twitter, some on Instagram, some on Facebook, some on LinkedIn. I don't even use those platforms. WhatsApp, I got them all. So when everyone messaged me across all these different platforms, it's like, shit, it's hard to remember who's who. And then, but I meat up with people all the time. I mean, my days and evenings are spent meeting people. This is what separates me from a lot of other people, is that I'll go out, I'll have a drink with you, I'll have a dinner with you. It's just hard to accommodate everyone, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm looking at your live chat, guys. Look, Miami is better than most other places. You can still go out, you can still have fun, you can still, but at the same time, I want to go somewhere where there's absolutely no masks. Guys, there's a new imposter of me on every social media known to man every day. Every day. Instagram is the worst offender every day. And Twitter will not let me report my imposters. They won't. Telling me that I have a fake tone Vays on Twitter does nothing. There is nothing I can do about it. If I report my own fake to Twitter, they actually get mad at me. They say, your account is not verified. So how do we know you're not the imposter? In order to verify my account, I have to give Twitter a blood sample and full KYC. And I'm not doing that. It's none of their business. Look, I've always agreed that altcoins are here to stay, but from an individual perspective, each one is an outright scam. But they're here to stay. I'm just not going to make a bet on which one, stays longer than the other. I don't care. They're irrelevant. How will Bitcoin perform in a recession? Bitcoin has its own bull and bear life cycle. Bitcoin. We're in a Bitcoin bull market. And it doesn't matter if the world is booming economy or crashing economy. We're in a bull market. The question is, what's your view on Blockstack? Well, in what capacity? From a legal security standpoint on their token, they're a legal security token. From do I think their company is doing anything useful? No. Do I think that token should exist as a utility token? No. So is the token a scam? According to the SEC, it's not. So they got that part covered. And but why does that token need to be a utility token and a security token? And that's a question that no one can answer. AP reports that Giuliani is in the hospital from COVID. I hope he's okay. I hope he recovers. Giuliani is an older gentleman, and it's possible that COVID can kill him. And Giuliani took a risk of catching COVID because there were more important things in his life than staying in a basement scared of COVID. Giuliani took the risk of dying from COVID to prove that the Democrats stole the election. And I applaud Giuliani for it. And if he dies from COVID because of him feeling that there was more important things for him to do than sit at home in his basement, then I would applaud him even more. Okay? Life is short. Don't shorten it by staying in a basement. See, here's the problem. Here's the problem with COVID, right? First of all, you have so many hypocrites. You have like these doctors that preach masks, and then there's like pictures of them partying it up in like Mexico without a mask. Okay, so there's hypocrites out there left and right. Okay, here's the other problem. If someone like myself that likes freedom and wears the mask as least as possible and socializes as much as possible, and I catch COVID, I look bad. Everyone is like, oh, he only caught COVID because he wasn't careful. Then you have people like the governor of Nevada who goes like this: I don't know how I caught COVID. I followed every restriction possible. I did twice as much to protect myself against COVID than I made my state do. And I still caught it. It can't be my fault. It can't be the fact, first of all, it can't be my fault. It's impossible. Like if I wore a mask and I caught COVID, that can't possibly be my fault. It's also not the virus's fault. It's not the virus's fault. It's not my fault. It's the fault of all those assholes like Tone Vays that refuse to social distance and wear a mask. It has to be their fault. And we're going to make sure that there is a tyrannical lockdown, so these assholes can't infect me because it can't possibly be a virus. The virus was never going to get through my bandana. This is the problem. This is the problem. Like, the virus is not at fault for spreading. It's only the people. It's only the people. It's only the every single person that isn't like, remember those videos in China where someone would be just standing there smoking a cigarette, and then all of a sudden they're falling over on the floor dead? So, oh man, where's I going with that? It's man, I forgot my train of thought. I was going to talk about those videos. So, man, okay, so here we go. So it's so everyone that is not like the guys on a video in China, everyone that isn't going to the ICU from COVID is an asymptomatic super spreader. There's no such thing as healthy anymore. You're one of two things. Either you are dying of COVID, or you are an asymptomatic super spreader. There's no other option for a human to be right now between an asymptomatic super spreader or on a deathbed with COVID. Masks aren't building up your immune system. Well, they could. If your mask is full of germs, you're going to get sick, but all right, guys, I don't have anything else. I've complained about COVID today. On some days, I go off on the election fraud. Today, I'm going off on COVID, mostly because I came to Miami and I'm kind of disappointed with how serious they're taking the mask mandate, which isn't even the mandate from the state. So it's still better. Like I said, it's better than everywhere else, but is it worth the trip? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. What are your thoughts on the suitcase footage from the Georgia clear smoking gun? Yeah, of course. Of course. You got to put them all together, right? It's not even like you have to put it all together. People are like, well, where is the evidence of fraud? Well, you have these suitcases taken out. So put it all together. Republican poll watchers are not allowed to watch at normal distance. In addition, they are grossly discriminated against and kicked out. Then, when they manage to still be in the room, they are told the counting for the day is done. Now they start counting more, faster, more efficiently once any Republican leaves the facility. They also, just counting them and running the same ballot through the same machine is not enough votes for them to steal an election. So now they have to bring out suitcases that they hid in the morning full of ballots for Biden. Well, how did those ballots end up in the suitcase? Well, you had to order them from China and photocopy the same ballot, thousands of times because all of this is witness testimony. They're all individual. This guy, this woman was watching crisp ballots all for Biden. And then another woman is like, we had to print so many test ballots to test the machines, and they were all sitting in like this box instead of being torn up. So you print a bunch of empty ballots in China. You mark one of them, you print them all out, you pretend like you're using them to test machines, you then put them in suitcases, hide them in the polling booth, wait till no one's watching, put them through the machines, and because you needed to print millions and millions of these ballots and mail them in, and that wasn't enough, and they knew it wasn't going to be enough, they also had to rig the machines themselves to flip votes from Trump to Biden. And that wasn't enough. So they had to suppress the Trump votes with decimal numbers. So if 1 million votes come in for Trump, or let's say a county, let's say 100,000 votes come in for Trump, and 50,000 votes come in for Biden, you rank the Biden votes as 1.1, and you rank the Trump votes as 0.9, and now you took away 10% of 100,000, dropping Biden's votes to 900,000 from 1 million, and you've increased Biden's votes from 500 to 550. Now put them all together. Now you're like, crap, we're still down. Where are those suitcases? Let's put those through the machine. Oh, and our software allows us to rank each vote at 1.1 instead of 0.9. So now each vote counts for 110% of the vote. Like the suitcases is just part of it. Are suitcases any more the ballots in the, like, how did those ballots get into those suitcases is probably something somebody may want to look into. Why aren't these people pulling the suitcases out, being subpoenaed? You put that person in a room and you say, either you tell us exactly what happened, or you go into prison for 10 years for election fraud. You know, tell us who told you to take that suitcase. Who's your higher up? You know, we can keep it to a misdemeanor. It'll be on your permanent record that you conspired to steal an election. Only the top people should be going to prison. I don't think the person who pulled out that suitcase should be going to prison. But I think that person should have a misdemeanor on their criminal record that they participated in election fraud, but it's not egregious enough for me to throw them in prison. But the guy that ordered those ballots and, you know, was the mastermind behind putting those suitcases there, yeah, I don't mind that guy going to prison. And not for a short time either. Right, and it's not one thing. It's evidence that the machines were not counting votes as whole numbers. Only means one thing. It only means one thing. Some votes for one candidate are ranked less than the other candidate. Evidence of vote flipping from it's never from Biden to Trump. It's always from Trump to Biden. Evidence of vote flipping. Evidence of adjusting votes with non-integer numbers. With man, what word am I looking for here? You get the point. Okay. Evidence of sticking USBs into the machines with God knows what software to do God knows what. Probably one or both of those things, right? People running extra votes through the machine. People, all these mail-in ballots, dead people voting, you know, mail-in ballots out of nowhere, crisp ballots, ballots that look like they just came out of a photocopy machine without a crease on them, with identical looking markings to mark who they voted for. It's hard to remember all the instances of fraud, and all of this has evidence, like testimony of witnesses. You know, what else was there? God, again, test ballots being printed, not destroyed. Man, I'm trying. It's hard to keep up with all of this shit. You know, no oversight where you're like, oh, I have a ballot. There's a tiny rip in this ballot, so I can't put it to the machine. Let me duplicate this ballot by filling in stuff. And, oh, I see this person voted for Trump. Well, this person is an idiot. I think I know better, because there's no oversight. There's no oversight. And yes, is it possible that there could have been a Trump fan that changed a Biden vote to Trump? It's possible, but it's way less likely that that happened, or it happened less often. Anyway, I can rant on this forever. I need to stop. This is it. Backdating envelopes, that's right, in mass. Backdating envelopes in mass. Like, it's, you can't even make a summary. Like if you make like a cliff notes of every single element of fraud with source to it, it'll be like a 20 tweet, at least 20 tweet stream. Somebody needs to do that, right? If somebody could like put every single evidence of election fraud with a link to the Senate hearing stuff, that'd be great. That'd be great. And at the end of the day, who do I think is going to be the American president in January's inauguration? It's going to be Biden. It's going to be Biden. It's not going to be Trump. It's going to be Biden. Oh yeah, all the votes counted out of the country. Yep. Biden will be your president, the same way Hugo Chavez was reelected in Venezuela. Look, the problem is once you elect a communist dictator, and I'm not saying Trump is a communist dictator. He's not. Sorry, Trump. I mean Biden is a communist. He's not. Trump is not Hugo Chavez. Sorry, Trump. Well, neither is Trump. Biden is not Hugo Chavez. He's not, you know, life in America under Biden will not be that different. It won't be that different. But it's the precedent. It's the precedent that the radical left, which has historically been destroyed countries everywhere. Okay. The mistake that the Venezuelan people did was vote in Chavez to begin with his socialist views. Because once you vote in a socialist, it's so hard to get to change your country. So now that Biden is in there, will a Republican ever be elected in the US again? It's possible that it will never happen again, because now there's a precedent to cheat and to make sure, because your side knows best. So once Chavez was elected, it was over. It was over. And he won that election fair and square the first time because he told the people what they wanted to hear. He told the people what they wanted to hear. Trump never tells you what you want to hear. Trump tells you how it is. I don't sit here on my channel and tell you what you want to hear. I tell you how it is. When you cheat to put someone in that sounds nice, you got to look at their freaking history and what they actually stand for, not what they say. Russians, Cubans, Venezuelans, none of them voted for Biden. None of them. They have one thing in common. They've lived under socialism. All right, guys, that's it. That is it for me. Good luck trading. Bitcoin at 19,000 for 5-6 days in a row. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna take a wait and see approach, and I'm willing to buy the dip or buy the breakout. But right now, I'll sit there in cash while we consolidate. That's my trading position. For your HODL position, should have bought Bitcoin yesterday as always. All right, guys, thank you all for watching and see you all